Hey there! This one is a bit wonky. We've been out of electricity for a while and I really thought it would keep going and that I wouldn't be able to make a video today. But then the electricity came back and I decided to make this video. It was kind of a short notice and I wasn't really that well prepared. Welcome back to my garage. I'll have to settle for this poor excuse for a beer because I'm out of the proper stuff. But anyways, today I'm going to talk about do-it-yourself octane boosters. Why would you want to boost the octane of your fuel? First, the octane rating tells you how good a fuel is at resisting detonation or knocking. It can be a bit confusing because it's measured in a few different ways. There's RON and MON and AKI. Basically the fuel is tested in two different setups and AKI is the two combined. So say you have a MON of 50 and a RON of 100, pretty insane numbers, but then AKI would be 100 plus 50 divided by 2, so 75. Now, why should you care? Why would you want to boost this octane rating? If you're running a pretty strung out two-stroke engine, or it just has bad cooling, this might happen. Now it's kind of difficult to see because the piston top is so smashed, but what started happening here was the piston was starting to get eroded by actually being melted by the high heat, and the boundary layer being blown off from detonation. Then as detonation causes a very high pressure spike, the small end bearing quickly got destroyed and pieces of it entered the combustion chamber and smashed the piston top and also clamped the top piston ring, and I lost compression, luckily, before anything else got destroyed. So detonation. What is detonation? After even combustion has started by the spark plug, suddenly a different part of the combustion chamber violently detonates and creates a large pressure spike. As you saw from my piston, detonation can wreak havoc on an engine. You can destroy it in seconds. If there's just slight detonation, you might not even hear it. It sounds like gravel in your engine if it's really bad. So what happened with my piston was one morning when I was riding to work about 20 miles, it was a particularly cold morning compared to what had been before that, since I had installed this new kit and jetted it, and I was running lean, slightly lean, but enough to cause detonation, and from here, on my way to work, detonated to death. There's a lot of ways to avoid or minimize detonation. Better cooling, less pressure, but you don't want that, you want power, so less power is really an option. Better combustion chamber shape, better fuel flow, better geometry, no sharp edges, better squish, stuff like that. But to give yourself the best starting point and a higher headroom for disaster, high octane fuel is the way to go. I don't know how it is in your place. I know in the United States you are able to buy race fuel at some pumps, and Avgas 100LL is available too. You can buy it, you know, the aircraft fuel, which is a great fuel, very high detonation resistance, very high octane rating, leaded, so a little poisonous, but who cares? I do. In Norway I cannot buy race fuel at any pump, and Avgas is not allowed to be used in anything but a plane. You actually have to register the amount of fuel you use every flight at the plane gas station or whatever, and so it's registered. You can't just fill up some cans and use it in your moped or car or whatever. So that brings me to do-it-yourself octane boosters. There's a lot of octane boosters already on the market, which you can just buy at a auto parts store, and most are shit. I can't say I've tried all of them, but they're expensive, and at least the ones I've seen only raise your octane rating by maybe 0.1, 0.3 or something like that, so it's not really useful at all. Here's some do-it-yourself options that are useful and does work and are not too expensive if you can find what you need. Okay, so here's a chart over fuel with run, mon and AKI values. First up, typical premium fuel. $98 RON, 91, 94 AKI. For an octane booster to work, either it has to be a higher octane rating and you mix it in with your original fuel, or it has to be an additive that prevents detonation from happening. Something that consumes the free radicals formed that lead to detonation. Now this is typically lead or methyl lead, and you won't get hold of that, at least not with the legal matters, so that's out of the question. That leads us to finding a hydrocarbon or hydrocarbon mix that has a higher octane rating to mix in with our fuel. Here's the most common options. Maybe the most common one is toluene, 121 RON, 107 MON, 114 AKI. Then there's xylene, 118 RON, 115 MON, and that equates to 116.5 isopropanol. Also 118 RON, 98 MON, 108. Now a good thing with toluene and xylene is that both chemicals have approximately the same energy content as typical gasoline, which means you won't lose any power by running mixtures of gasoline and toluene or xylene, or a mix of toluene and xylene in your gas. Isopropanol has a lower energy content, if I can remember correctly. I should really have checked it. And also a lower octane rating. So if you can get a hold of toluene or xylene, those are the best options. Xylene will create more soot than toluene, so really toluene is the best option. While editing last night, I realized I forgot to mention AFR. That's important. You should find the stoichiometric value for any substance you plan to add to your fuel, so that you can calculate or estimate the jet change, or at least know that you will have to do a jet change. For toluene and xylene, it's really not a problem because they have very close or similar stoichiometric value to gasoline, 14.7 to 1. But for other stuff like say ethanol, which is a great octane booster, if you run E85, you know that the stoichiometric value is quite different. Same goes for methanol and a lot of other substances. Also, while speaking of methanol, not every chemical will mix readily with gasoline. You can use a mixing agent. Acetone works great often. Just be aware of that. I feel there's a sequel coming to this video, a better one with better preparation beforehand. Okay, I'll edit and upload the video at work today. Back to the garage. Mixing about 30% is totally safe. Premium fuel, 70%, 24 API. So, 30%, 114 API. That weighs 100 AKI. Now you could mix more. You could mix 50% toluene. You could mix 70%. The problem is that toluene and xylene can be difficult to combust when it's cold, and you might struggle with most of the mixture just passing through the engine before it warms up, and thereby you will struggle with getting the right mixture, jetting. The reason I'm mentioning isopropanol, even though it's not really that suitable, is that often you'll find toluene and xylene in paint thinners together with isopropanol and other chemicals like acetone, which also is totally fine, has a higher octane rating than your regular fuel, but lower energy content. But acetone is totally fine in your fuel, toluene is fine, xylene is fine, isopropanol is fine, and a lot of other chemicals. Okay, that's it. So toluene and xylene, your best options. Probably toluene, because it creates less soot in your cylinder and exhaust. Now, there's also a lot of other chemicals that can work. I suggest you do some research, search up octane ratings for various hydrocarbons or fuels or whatever, and do some research, check out the energy content. What I'm trying to say here, don't be afraid to do some experimenting. I've done, and I've never had a problem running various paint thinners and stuff in my engines, as long as I've paid attention to the content and checked what I'm really putting in there. If you can get a hold of these chemicals by themselves, great for you. Here in Norway it is difficult, like with most things. But anyways, thanks for watching. If you're a patron, thank you for supporting me, and I am actually planning to post my first patron-only video soon. It will be a behind-the-scenes thing where I take you along while I'm filming one of these regular episodes. I'm also planning to make some merch, maybe some t-shirts or caps or drinking glasses. Please comment if you have a suggestion for something that would have been cool as two-stroke stuffing merch. Thanks for watching. See you next time.